Oh, well, hello there. Sorry, I didn't see over my moustache. I was just studying my favorite topic, the sandy beach. Would you like to go on a journey through water and sand and explore some of the fascinating characteristics of the sandy beach? Wonderful. Let's go. The sandy beach is a loose deposit of sand, gravel, or shells that covers many of the world's shores. They comprise 2/3 of the ice-free coastline. Now, the sandy beach is a dynamic environment where air, water, and sand are constantly in motion. However, before I proceed to explore some of the very interesting biotic factors of this environment, my friend Aditya, please 1 second, I'm parched. My marine bioenthusiast, Aditya, is going to reveal to you some of the wondrous abiotic characteristics.
Oh, thanks, Jasper. In sandy beaches, the most important abiotic factor is water and the movement of waves.
The sandy beach is one of the most rigorous habitats for organisms on Earth. The main reason is that the constantly shifting sand lacks any type of stability. Every wave shifts the sand, and changes in the size of the waves and the direction of the waves increases or decreases the intensity of the sand movement. Large waves tend to remove sand from a beach, whereas smaller waves tend to deposit sand on a beach. A steady stream of large waves over a period of days or weeks may actually remove all the sand from a beach, leaving only boulders or bedrock. On the other hand, a steady stream of small waves may deposit so much sand on a beach that it increases the width of the beach. During the winter, waves tend to be larger and smaller during the summer. This unstable environment makes it difficult for plants and animals to settle. In addition to waves, the organisms must contend with the problems imposed by tidal fluctuations. The daily ebb and flow of the sea exposes the shore to all of the elements. The movement of waves also subjects the ecosystem to extreme changes in surface temperature. While the temperature of the sand may be constantly changing, in general on the coast, the climate is influenced by warm, moist air from the ocean, keeping it mild. Summers aren't too hot, and the winters are not too cold. Salinity is also affected by changing waves, constantly shifting around the global oceanic average of 3.5%. Now let's wave goodbye to water movement and talk about light. The angle at which light is projected onto sandy beaches serves as an identifier and marker for the resident organisms. This tool allows them to recognize the onset of low and high tides. This also serves to alert predators of possible increase in prey.
Thank you, Aditya. Let us move on to the wondrous biotic factors of sandy beaches. First, let's talk about seaweeds. No seaweeds live on a sandy beach because most seaweeds need a solid attachment site, and the constantly shifting sand does not provide this. Pieces of drifting seaweed often wash ashore, though. Another resident, kelp flies, often cover seaweed cast upon the beach, feeding on rotting kelp. In addition to kelp flies, tiny red mites may also be found in beach-cast seaweed piles. Activity around a seaweed pile is generally from the burrowing of a marine amphipod called a beach hopper. The beach hoppers dig around and under piles of rotting seaweed. Beach hoppers burrow under seaweed to escape the dryness and heat of the day. Beach hoppers are crustaceans and are related to shrimp. Their bodies are laterally flattened, like shrimp, but they lack the carpus shell that covers the head and thorax region of a shrimp. Beach hoppers appear thin from a dorsal view due to their laterally flattened bodies and have segments from their head to the tip of their abdomen. Another resident organism is the beach pillbug. Beach pillbugs are related to pillbugs, also known as roly-polies, and soapbugs that are commonly found in terrestrial environments. Most of the beach pillbugs dig in the sand just seaward of the berm crest and aren't bothered by the waves or dryness at low tide because of their tough exoskeleton. However, if food is not plentiful, they have been known to bite the ankles of people. Next up, the bloodworm. Bloodworms are one of the most abundant sandy beach animals. These bloodworms may occur in tremendous numbers in the mid-intertidal area of a sandy beach. They are called bloodworms because of the red color of their bodies. Their bodies stretch through the moist sand and are sometimes up to a foot long. They can be found up to 8 inches in depth. Below 8 inches or so, there is not enough oxygen in the moist sand for them to live. Now, the little buggers you have been dreading ever since your friends put them in the back of your Speedo, the sand crab. Sand crab rides the waves up and down the beach. To feed, it quickly burrows backwards into the sand with its powerful legs. specifically adapted for burrowing. It leaves only its feather-like antennae exposed to filter small food particles from the retreating waves. Sand crabs molt to grow. Adults often molt about once per year. Carnivorous segmented worms are rare or uncommon on sandy beaches. They feed on bloodworms, young beach hoppers, young beach pillbugs, and young sand crabs, as well as on each other. Bean clams occur on some sandy beaches, sometimes by the hundreds. All bivalves, the group with all the clams, mussels, scallops, and oysters, are filter feeders, filtering the microscopic plankton from the water for nutrition. The bean clams that are intertidal must do all of their filtering when the tide is in and wait out the low tide. Occasionally, any large planktonic form, like jellyfish, may become beached if the currents and winds push it on shore. The feathered friends of the sandy beaches include sanderlings, sandpipers, black-bellied plover, marbled godwit, wimbrel, long-billed curlew, and western gulls.
In concern to the movement capabilities and techniques of these organisms, burrowing must be rapid and powerful on high-energy sandy beaches. This is because the animals must not be swept away by incoming waves and swash. They also need to be highly mobile and must be able to deal with the swash climate. In contrast with rocky shores, desiccation or severe drying out is not an overriding concern because animals can retreat back into the substratum or below the water table. Intertidal filter feeders cannot feed while the tide is retreated. Many species use vertical tidal migrations through the sand column, while other species move up and down the beach with the tides. Burrowing and tidal migrations are also used by species to help protect them from predators. Adaptations to respiration of animals in low-energy sandy beaches are an increased ventilation rate or an increased efficiency, reduced metabolic rate, or other ways of conserving energy. Species display variation in the number of eggs, the anatomy of the reproductive organs, the morphology of egg cases, times of breeding, mating behavior, and developmental stages. Adaptations also include to reproduce at frequent times, iteroporous, or to reproduce just once a year, semelporous. Fun fact, some species follow the lunar cycle to reproduce. Back to you, Jasko.
Beach food chains begin with seaweed, phytoplankton in the sea, and sand, and particles of decaying matter. Small animals filter plankton or these organic particles out of the sea or sand. For example, lugworms sieve edible scraps out of the sand, and when the tide comes in, barnacles catch passing plankton. Other creatures, including limpets, sea urchins, and winkles, have strong rasping teeth or tongues which they use to scrape up small seaweed. Crabs, whelks, lobsters, and most fish are carnivorous or scavengers. They use drills, strong teeth, or crushing claws to break the shells of mussels and limpets. Larger carnivores, such as otters, seals, birds, salmon, and halibut, do not live on the beach, but visit for a feast. Our favorite sandy beach frequenter, the sandpiper, goes through a multitude of changes as it transitions from adolescence to adulthood and between periods of breeding and non-breeding. Breeding adults display a reddish-brown plumage of varying degrees, concentrated on the crown, ears, and along the upper back. The breast is streaked, and the sides are marked with several black streaks and chevrons. In the fall after breeding, individuals are often faded and patchier, whereas in non-breeding adults, plumage is plain grayish-brown above and white below. The eyebrow feathers are white, and the breast is lightly streaked. In juvenile sandpipers, legs are olive, darkening to black in adults. Plumage coloration on the head is similar to that of non-breeding adults, but darker and more distinct. Wing feathers are grayish-brown to reddish-brown, with buff fringes. Underparts are mostly unmarked, and the sides of the breast are streaked. Breasts of the young individuals are tan, fading to white during the first migration. I hope you enjoyed our journey through water and sand. I know I did. And from all of us here at Jasko and Aditya Productions,
Thank you for watching our video!